Okay, let's continue, and we are going to download some object for disappearing project. I'm going to find some sculpture or maybe some school, everything which can be downloaded. Which is wrong. We can use some dragon school maybe. Maybe we can use some school. Sometimes we don't have any FBX format. We can use some GLB, and we can try this GLB and find some converter GLB to FBX. Or we can use Blender for converting this GLB object to FBX object. But we can try to use some converter and check how it can be done. Or I can show you how to also convert some objects by using Blender. In the sketchflow, there is a lot of objects and they have only GLB format. That's why it's interesting to understand how to use Blender to convert some GLB objects downloaded from the internet. We can import GLB here. And where's my downloads? We can download variant with check textures inside. We can check. Here is some textures, but I guess we can't use these textures because we need to change the UV map for this object and create this UV map from the top to the down for disappearing this object. That's why I'm not going to extract some shaders from here, but if you want to use some textures, you can unpack textures from Blender by using the shaded folder and check which materials they have. They have some normal map, they have some roughness map, metallic, and this is the base color. And here you can unpack item. If you press this icon, you can unpack and write to new location. Write file to current directory. Create when necessary. Use file from. Let's make let's unpack write file to current directory. Well, sometimes it can be error. Okay, some errors occurred, but we don't need any textures. That's why let's use some export. We can use some export to FBX, and we can go and save into my folder in the desktop. And we will get some FBX file from Blender, and we can use this file um, in Maya. Or we can also download it from the converter, and also we can check and we can compare these two files from the converter and Blender. While it's downloading and opening, we can find some texture for our school. We can find some school bone texture. It should be seamless without any big details, maybe something like pattern or maybe something similar like color. And if we will use this textures without any details, only about color, we can change UV mapping to this spherical for any object, and this texture will be look better instead of using some high quality textures with many details. Maybe I can use this one or this one for the texture of this object. Um, we can download the textures from some files. This one is has price. Maybe we can use this texture from preview. We don't need to have a really high quality texture, just only for imitation some color. Maybe this one is also can be useful. This one is also good, only just for color. And let's save it into my folder, and we're ready to set up our stand. First of all, we're going to import our school object here. let's use one from the Blender. When we import this object, we should inspect this object and check how it looks like, how many polygons they have. If this object has a really huge polygons, uh, huge amount of faces, vertices, you can reduce this object, and with the reduce tool you can decrease the number of polygons. If this reduce not ruin your model, you can use this one. Uh, Maybe we can soften edge this object. After soften edge, it can be more smooth. And also here we can find some teeth and groups. We need to combine this object into one. And also let's delete some history. Let's delete unnecessary locators or groups. And also we can delete the camera and light. When you export from Blender, every time this comes into the scene. They export also entire scene, and we can delete this unnecessary stuff. Next, we are going to change its UVs. Let's open UV editor and check. This model has a really complicated UV, and this is not useful for our disappearing object. That's why we need to change the UV first. And we can create the spherical or cylindrical map for this object. And let's check by selecting UVs where it starts. If it starts from the beginning, it's better now. And let's check the distribution of this object. Now it's starts from bottom to the down. And we can also just a little bit squeeze this texture, these UVs, to avoid duplicating above the line, because if sometimes you will go to above the line, your disappearing object can make some weird stuff here. For example, these objects can be disappeared 2 times, or maybe not disappear well. That's why you should check every UVs should be from the 1 to 0 position without any intersection this line. It doesn't matter if these vertices or UVs can go wider to this in the left or right, but avoid intersections to the top and down. Wider, it doesn't matter, it's just duplicating this position. Okay, we're ready with the UV set. Next, we are going to add some material. Let's create some Lambert. Here we can use some Lambert material, or we can use some Arnold render material. There is some complicated stuff with transparency in Arnold render. For example, when we create some light and render this disappearing object in Arnold, we can see some shapes which is disappeared. That's why I should check which material we should use for the school. Let's try to render this out with a simple light, and let's check with the Arnold render. There is some errors and warning. Let's check. Here's our textures from the Blender. we should break connection because some errors appear here. Sorry for this projector. Okay, let's break connection. Uh, Unlock attribute, break connections from this default material. There is uh, maybe some two materials here, or we can apply some new material for this entire object with Lambert. And also we can edit and delete type by history from this object. And now let's check with Arnold render. Now everything is rendering. And let's use our transparent mask. Into the transparency, we can use this mask. Let's go to our mask folder, use sequence, and let's check something in between. We need only 190 frames. And now we can check that everything rendering fine. Now you see it's opposite one on the rendering, and we should fix this. Let's try another material. Maybe we can use some Arnold render standard surface. And in the standard surface, we can use also some geometry, and we can use opacity. In the opacity, we also can select mask, use sequence, and let's check. Now in the rendering is correct. Now this rendering is correct. We see the right part of this skull, and it disappeared correctly. But sorry, this projector is noisy. Okay, we should check the bottom line. Maybe if these bottom lines don't seem in the render, it's okay. Uh, it means everything is fine. Sometimes we see these artifacts on the models, but it's if it's not seen in the rendering process, it's okay. We double checked our model and we're ready to use some color. In IE standard surface, we can go to the color and use some texture, which we already downloaded from the internet. With this one, this albedo is quite well. If we will use some different materials with many details, our model will be not look good because we use incorrect UV set. And for the model, we only need some appropriate color. Okay, next we are going to add some apostament for this model. Um, we can model this from cylinder. We can apply some cylinder. We can increase the scale, decrease a little bit on the x-axis, and put at the bottom of the skull. Something like this. It should be touched, um, and maybe we can make some adjustment for this apostament. We can select edges and make some bevel on it. With the fractions, we can change the fraction and the segment. We can use some more fractions and segment on this. And this model becomes more accurate and detailed. And also we can smooth this object a little bit because we have a really detailed sculpt and we should also keep this apostament the similar quality like a sculpt. That's why I'm applying some smooth on this apostament. And also we can make some colors on it. We can use some Arnold render, we can use some standard surface, and we can use some preset for them. Maybe it can be clay or it can be chrome. You can set up with something according to your feelings. Maybe some rubber, or maybe we can change the preset to whatever we want. Maybe some velvet. Oh, I think it's interesting. It's like gothic in the gothic manner, and we can continue set up the scene after we finished with this effect. Now we're ready to use our particles. Let's save our project before using the particles. And let's select this skull and go to FX, create some emit from object, and the same as we done previously with the sphere, we can change particles rate. Um, we can change texture rate. We can select our emitter. Let's go to our folder with emitter. Select use sequence. Next, let's go to the nucleus field, decrease the gravity. In the particles emitter, let's decrease the speed of these particles and enable texture rate for these particles. Let's check the result by now. Now here we can see how many particles rated according to disappearing this object. You should check that emitter rate and emitter mask is work, and you shouldn't see particles somewhere according to the surface. If something wrong, please check that emitter rate have some emission mask, and in this emission mask you has use sequence, and check the number of particles rate, and also as we use this emission type should be surface. If it's omni, it will not work. Okay, let's Let's see our particles. Now it's done. Let's save this result and increase more these particles. Or maybe we can make some speed now. Sorry. Okay, we increase just speed just a little bit for checking these particles. And also everything compares according to the size of the object. If you don't see result, maybe the size of the object is really huge and you need to increase the number of particles and increase the speed and maybe we should change the size of our objects. Let's use maybe some smaller one now. We can select every our object. We can group this and we can scale this entire group until we will see this grid line, grid, and we can set up our scene a little bit small. And now we don't need much polygons, much particles to simulate this sculpt. Now we have a lot of now the speed is really huge for these particles. We can go to the emitter and decrease the speed, and let's see the number of particles. uh, for understanding how many particles we need, we can go to the particle shape and change shading mode to our spheres. And we should also use little spheres, something like dust. I think the number is enough, and we can keep this number of particles. Next, I'm going to change the particles color according to our texture. Let's again add some dynamic attributes, color, add per particle attribute, and after adding these dynamic attributes, we can use some color. Really noisy. Maybe next week they fix this projector. Okay, again go back to our particles emitter and we can inherit color. We can inherit color from our texture, and okay, we can go to our rendering editor, open Hypershade, go to the textures. In the textures, it's really difficult to find necessary file because here we have artifacts um, from downloaded objects, and also if you can't find the texture, you can open file and assign the same texture to the file. Sorry. Okay, let's select the file and we can use. Sometimes Maya crashed, it happens. Okay, that's why every time save your progress. Uh, let's see what we have now. Okay, let's check our particles. We change it to the spheres. It's already saved. And let's go to our attributes, dynamic attributes, per particle attributes, and let's open our emitter. And here we can apply some file from and assign the same texture on the particles. Now it should be the same color as our object. I think it's almost the same because we have a really light texture here. Ah, sorry, it's not almost it's not the same because we don't check inherit color now. And let's again. Now it should be the same. Hmm. And also in Arnold render, it can be some blobby surface. Let's check something went wrong. Let's go back to our particles shape and check the spheres and the particle size. Bless you. Now it's better on render. Maybe when we scale them, it looks different on the render and on the model. Maybe you should scale it before creating some particles. Or maybe even we can create again this emitter and particles. Let's do it. Again, let's assign a file for the color of this texture. Change the number of particles. Check them on the render. The particles has correct color, I guess, but the size different in the viewport and in the render, and that's why you should check every time when you change particles. Check them how it looks like in the render. Let's change it for the sphere and double check how it looks like in the render. Now the size is the same and we can change the radius. The radius and the color depends on the size of the model. And we can change also number of these particles. Maybe even more, we can increase this quantity. I think this one is almost enough. Okay, let's change it to the darker one. When we're done with the color of these particles, now we can adjust some fields for these particles. Let's select particles, and again we will use some volume axis field. But this volume axis field can be done, and we can change the orientation of this. We can use some directional speed, and we can change direction of these particles. Something away. Maybe minus. something like this. This arrow shows you the direction of this field. And also we can apply some turbulence and we can play and see how it flows away. I think this is one is good. Also we can use some around axis for rotating these particles, like we have the wind. And we can change the speed a little bit. Now this one is quite good enough. Next, we also should change the particles' opacity. When they have speed, they can disappear with opacity. The same, we can change the opacity according to the speed. And now it's like a disappearing effect. Maybe we can increase the size a little bit. Let's increase the radius and check on the render. And we should change the lifespan of these particles. Uh, Now we didn't switch off the particles rate. We are going to change only random range for this lifespan and check maybe from the 3 seconds to 2 seconds. And let's see how it disappears. Maybe more, maybe less. One and 1.5. Let's save. And in the particles, we can also change in emitter, we can decrease the speed of these particles. And we will use only emitter, only field. I think we can continue set up this work on the next week. And your first task will be only text dissolve that we've done on the first lecture. And for this disappearing object dissolve, we also will set the deadline when we discuss with the Dana. And don't forget to sign in the internet. If someone don't have attendance, you can write me on the Telegram your surname, and I will mark you. Все же отметились, да? Нет, за первый. Я с первого на второй продублирую.